In this video, I'm going to be talking about two of the most irritating and hard to get rid of weeds that we will see in our cool season lawns, and that is crabgrass and nutsedge. Let's get out of the weeds. Now, as the year is starting to come on, most of us are really starting to kind of get into that heat of the summer as we're starting to roll into kind of mid-July. Well, during this time when your lawn is at its weakest, crabgrass and nutsedge tend to take over. So I noticed some nutsedge growing in my flower beds here over the last couple weeks, and so instead of taking care of it early, I wanted to kind of let it go a little bit so that way I could be able to help make this video to really show you guys what some really good nutsedge looks like. So here you have it, and so it has a very distinct look. Now you will notice it does kind of look like a grass. Now the thing that's different with nutsedge is that it's not a typical broadleaf weed, so the broadleaf weed control that you typically buy in your stores will not do much to nutsedge. So what can happen is you buy a weed control from the store, you start spraying it on these things, and nothing happens, and you're thinking, I bought this junk weed control. Well, that's the issue with this, is that you want something that's more specialized to target nutsedge. If not, the problem can get really out of hand. The next thing you'll notice is, since it does look like grass, really the biggest difference between it and our grass that you see is a lot of it's the color. This is a lot more of a lime green color. So what you'll notice is it can blend in pretty well, but what happens with nutsedge is it grows very, very fast. So when you get into these July months and your lawn's growing pretty slowly, the nutsedge is actually outgrowing your lawn. So if you have a problem with nutsedge, oftentimes you're going to see the tips of the leaves sticking up above the rest of the grass. It'll almost look like maybe you missed sections, but then when you look at it, it's going to be more of a lime green color, and that's a key indicator that it's nutsedge kind of growing in your lawn. Now, nutsedge is a water grass, so it typically likes to show up in areas where there's a lot of water. So if you have like a low spot in your lawn where water tends to collect, now that's where it really helps to get it established. But nutsedge thrives in drought conditions, and so that's why you see when your lawn's slowing down and not growing as fast, you really see the nutsedge start to take over. So now I have here kind of my own little nutsedge growing farm here. And so this I've all let kind of just go here in my flower bed, and you can see, man, it's getting really tall. Even this one plant right here, it's actually starting to get seed heads. Now the first question is, why am I getting nutsedge in that area of my flower beds? Well, I have an in-ground irrigation system, and it's literally right beside the irrigation head, and so it gets a lot more water kind of just spraying there and collecting there, and so it is a prime spot for nutsedge to grow. It's in its perfect environment. Now in front of me I have several different weed controls here, and so I want to show you kind of what you're going to be looking for in the stores. So now on the front here it says all-in-one lawn weed and crabgrass killer, and so kills even tough weeds to the root. And so on the back it lists over 200 weeds that it's controlled. But the important thing to know is that this is mostly going to be a broadleaf weed control, and so it will not touch the sedge. And so I could spray this thing on it all day and nothing's going to really happen to it. Next, you can find things like this, where this little spray bottle is targeted directly for nutsedge killer. And what you'll notice is the active ingredient for this is sulfentrazone. And so with sulfentrazone, that's going to be one of the key active ingredients that you're going to see that's going to target nutsedge. Now, with that, so now you have those products that literally are targeted for nutsedge, but then you also have kind of these broadleaf weed control. So this is kind of my like grab and go. If I just don't got much time and I just want to get out and spray some weeds, this is the one. Just shake it and shoot it, man. And so if you look here on the packaging, if you look right down on the middle, it says kills yellow nutsedge. And so, what makes this so different from this one? Doesn't kill nutsedge, but this one does. And if you take a look at the active ingredients, you'll see sulfentrazone, which is the exact same active ingredient of this one right here. And so what they did is in this tank mix, they put a little bit of Nutsedge Killer in this as well to make an additional weed that it is targeting. And so you will find in some of your ones that target hundreds of weeds, some of them will kill nutsedge, some of them won't. But make sure you see that advertisement and look for that key ingredient, because that's going to be the most popular one that you're going to be seeing in your stores. There's another fun way to get rid of nutsedge, and that is to bust out the sedge hammer. And so you'll see here what this is you can buy these off of Amazon, you can find them online. So what this is you take this one pouch and you pour it into a gallon hand sprayer, mix it up, and you have a gallon of product to go and take out any and all nutsedge that you're dealing with. So if you're suffering from a case of nutsedge, just get one of these packets, apply thoroughly throughout the infected area, and in no time your nutsedge problem will be gone. So now to the king daddy of all lawn weeds, and that's crabgrass. Now with crabgrass, we should have taken care of most of it very early on. We did our if you did your pre-emergent application, that was to stop the crabgrass before you see it in your lawn. And if you follow along with this channel, I made 2 applications of it. I did half of my application in the very beginning of the year as my first application of the entire season. And then I did my second application, the last half of it, somewhere around Memorial Day. And so that was to help target the crabgrass before it actually shows up in my lawn. So if you didn't put down a pre-emergent and you start to see crabgrass showing up throughout your lawn, just know that the next best time is now to start targeting it. What you can do is you want to find a weed control that is going to be targeting crabgrass directly, and you want to catch it early. The longer the crabgrass grows and gets further along in its stages, the harder it is to get rid of. The other thing is crabgrass is an annual plant, so every year when crabgrass comes up, it's a new plant. So crabgrass seeds like absolute craziness. If you've ever seen a seed head on crabgrass that's just gone wild and just let go free, that thing throws seeds out everywhere. And so you can legitimately, if not treated, you can literally have a lawn that literally is nothing but 100% crabgrass, just because it drops so many seeds, it can quickly take over a lawn. So now just looking around at some unkept areas around the house and on the road. So this is over here literally in a crack in the road somewhere by my house. And so I can see here, you're starting to get the crabgrass starting to come up. So you can see that it's low growing, it's kind of that light green, and it just grows real low to the ground and just kind of starts spreading out. And so this is the very beginning, early stages of crabgrass. You can see it's mixed in with some other weeds and stuff, but right here you can see that it there, and then a little bit over here. What you guys want to start doing is just know that crabgrass is very opportunistic. It thrives in these conditions when your grass is weak, or it's not, you have bare spots, or it's just not very thick and you kind of have a thin lawn. Crabgrass can really jump in there and begin to take over. And so begin by looking on the perimeter and edges of your lawn, or if you're up against like a neighbor who doesn't take care of their lawn, that's another hot spot area I've noticed at times is, so your neighbor gets crabgrass and then the crabgrass starts sneaking on over to your lawn. And so start by looking at the outer perimeters, because if you look on those spots that are leading up to against the sidewalks or road, those temperatures there are typically hotter because the road in that gets heated up a lot quicker. And so a lot of times whatever you see on the edges of your sidewalks and roads, those are what's getting ready to come to the rest of the lawn, just going to be trailing behind it by a little bit. Now, kind of the same thing with nutsedge. Not every weed control out there in your store is going to have good control over crabgrass. Now, the main ingredient that you're going to want to look for in any weed control that you buy or you already have at your house is going to be the active ingredient quinclorac. If it doesn't have quinclorac in it, and you bought it from just a local store around your area, I would be very suspicious about if the weed control you have is going to kill crabgrass, because quinclorac is almost universally the thing that you're going to see in any of your big box stores of things that are targeting crabgrass. Now, for example here, I have this one here. You can see Weed Stop for Lawns plus Crabgrass Killer. And if you look down here at the active ingredients, quinclorac listed right there. And so that's where you're getting the Crabgrass Killer in this mixture. Now, you look here, lawn weed and Crabgrass Killer. And so you got it again. Most of the time they're going to advertise if they are a Crabgrass Killer. If it doesn't have crabgrass listed real big in the title, there's a high chance right there it's probably not targeting it. So for most people starting out new, a lot of times people think everything is crabgrass. And so if they're not advertising crabgrass, there's a high chance it's not going to target it. So, but you see Crabgrass Killer on there, look at the active ingredient. Again, you're going to see just right there below the first one, quinclorac. And so that's what you want to look for to know that you're going to be taking control of crabgrass whenever you spray it. The thing to note with crabgrass is that once you do spray it and it does begin to die, what's going to happen is you're going to see the plant still there. Don't expect the plant to just wither up, die, disappear, and next thing you know it's like, it was never here to begin with. With crabgrass, what's going to happen is after a few days after the application, you are going to notice the crabgrass is going to start to turn white, and it will remain that way for an extended period of time. And so don't be alarmed if you start spraying crabgrass and the next few days, week later or so, you're looking and you're starting to see all these white spots in your lawn. That's because the stuff is actually working and beginning to kill off the crabgrass. Lastly, with any product that you put down on your lawn to kill weeds, make sure you're following the instructions on the back. Most of them are going to recommend not spraying any weeds whenever the outside air temperature is above 85. And so if you're getting some high temperatures above 85 in the heat of the day, do not spray anything on your lawn, because you run a high risk of damaging your other grass along with the weed. And so make sure that if you're going to be doing it, let the temperatures get a little bit cooler and spray it when it's not that hot out. Holy nutsedge. Whew. There you go, there's crabgrass issue. So if you kind of look ahead, how I said it's a lighter grass, you can start to see right in front of me. Good sign what you got here. And you can look in there. Yep, crabgrass is just going to start taking over this. And so you could see that all the way back here. Start to look, it really just stands out, color difference. It's a key sign. Alright, so I'm starting to come up and seeing the next problem. I don't know if you can kind of see there on the other side of the driveway. Starting to see some really light colored grass. As we get a little bit closer, see it's taller and everything else, growing faster. There you go. Nutsedge. So now I'll begin to treat the nutsedge that I had in my flower bed, and I will also kind of do an update here a few weeks later, trying to show you guys kind of the progression of it. As I walk around my neighborhood, some of these hot spots I've seen with the crabgrass beginning to take over, it's going to look a lot different here in a few weeks. And so unless they jump on it early, so we'll see who is on to the crabgrass coming over into their lawn and who isn't. Because if you're not ready for it, crabgrass is going to be king. So I hope this video was helpful. If you guys have any questions at all, feel free to reach out and leave a comment on this video. And so with that, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time when we get out of the weeds into a beautiful lawn.